Thanos, he's the Mad Titan of the Marvel Comics, and without a doubt, one of the most epic and powerful beings ever brought to bear, which is why he was the focus of the first 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Both in the films and in the comics, he's seen as very hard to beat, and for good reason. But if you were to dive into the history of Marvel Comics and beyond, you'll find a lot more characters have beaten him than you'd expect, and some are definitely not who you'd expect. Allow us to show you 10 characters who have defeated Thanos. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 10. Adam Warlock. As comics have shown time and time again, just because you have an overpowered enemy doesn't mean they can't be beaten into submission by using your brain. In the legendary Infinity Gauntlet saga, after Thanos had wiped out half the universe with a snap, which would happen in the MCU as well, and continue to get stronger, the remaining heroes of the universe had to band together to survive and get back what was theirs. But they couldn't overpower Thanos. He was too great. However, that's where Adam Warlock, a powerful entity of his own right, came in. While he didn't overpower Thanos, he did outsmart him in a very familiar way. Mainly, he tricked him into taking off the gauntlet, and as Warlock put it on, he proclaimed, "Let the conflict end." And so it did. Because while Thanos is very powerful, he's also very vain, and it showed here perfectly. Number 9. Thor. Thor and Thanos honestly have a deep anger-fueled history in the Marvel Universe, even before the Infinity War came to be. The fact of the matter is that Thor is indeed one of the strongest Avengers around because of his demigod status and Mjolnir, which is one of the most powerful things in the Marvel Universe. And yet, despite all that power, when Thor and Thanos met, Thor tends to lose. A lot. Because Thanos is just that much better despite Thor's boasts. However, in Thor Volume 2, number 25, the opposite happened. Thor and Thanos came to blows once again, and Thor was set up to lose again. But then, he got some help from Firelord. Thor was bestowed special Asgardian armor made from his father Odin, and with it, he was able to not just beat Thanos, but kill him. Or so we thought, because that fight was retconned into stating that Thor killed a clone of Thanos. Because why kill off a good bad guy? Number 8. Marvel. The original Captain Marvel, has a very curious history in the comics, not the least of which is because of his relationship with Carol Danvers, but that's another story entirely. But in the earliest days of his run in Marvel, he was one of the best heroes around, and one of the pioneers of the Marvel Cosmic Universe. So as such, him and Thanos have clashed many a time, including in a key arc where Thanos was able to get his hand on a cosmic cube, another powerful Marvel object, and set across the stars to destroy everything. Marvel was the person to stop his destruction, though when he realized the truth behind the Mad Titan's new power, he destroyed the cube, and with Thanos weakened, he was able to beat him without a problem. Definitely a defining moment in the life of Captain Marvel. Number 7. Drax. If you recall the MCU story of Drax the Destroyer, you'll remember that Ronan the Accuser killed his family, and then after beating him, he declared that Thanos was the real cause for his family's death and promised to kill him. In the comics though, that honestly happened. All of it. Thanos killed the human that would be Drax and his whole family. He was created by a god named Kronos to kill Thanos, and his mission took on from there. In Annihilation number 4, that moment finally came to pass. After teaming up with Annihilus to capture Galactus and dominate the universe, Drax was warned that coming after his daughter, Moondragon, and fighting Thanos would end in her death. He didn't care, and he went through his army, and in a rare moment of distraction, Drax ripped Thanos' heart right out of his chest. That must have felt really satisfying. Number 6. Hulk. This one is funny in a certain way, because Hulk is known to lose to Thanos more times than not. But the one time he gets the victory is in the Marvel Zombies timeline. You see, in the sequel to the hit story, the zombies are not only all over the world, but they talk to one another. Not to mention, they need flesh in order to survive. Thanos and Hulk are two of these zombified Marvel characters, and Thanos cracks a joke about how much Hulk eats. So Hulk punches him in the head so hard it explodes. And this time, Thanos stays dead. Too bad he couldn't do that in Infinity War, right? Number 5. Deadpool. Deadpool and Thanos have an even more complicated relationship than you realize. Mainly because they're both in love with the same cosmic entity, Death. Yeah, really. These two are literally her most desired people, and they hate each other for wanting the same girl. Thanos has done various things to try to get rid of Deadpool without killing him so that he could claim death for himself. But in one rare moment, the tables were turned. Deadpool got the Unipower, which found him worthy, somehow, and turned him into Captain Universe, which made it so he had all the power he needed to go and defeat Thanos. But wait, there's more. During one of his Deadpool ramblings, he revealed that Thanos' plan of wiping out half of the universe for death is also preventing death from claiming half the universe. Thus, he's just as pro-life as he is pro-death. Death accepts this logic and abandons Thanos, leaving him to die. Number 4. Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom and Thanos are indeed some of the most powerful entities the Marvel Universe has ever known, but going up against one another is a rare thing indeed. But in Secret Wars number 8, it finally happens in the most epic way possible. After becoming the God Emperor of Battleworld, long story, the various heroes and villains of the remaining multiverse must come together to retake the power Doom has. Doom doesn't want to fight Thanos, and says if he kneels, he'll spare him. Thanos rebukes the offer, to which Doom asks if he has the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos says he doesn't, and that he's, quote, more than enough for Doom, end quote. Dr. Doom then rips his spine and skeleton out of his body, and notes that appears untrue. Number 3. Squirrel Girl. Yup, this happened. Squirrel Girl has quite a following that led to her being used in series like The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, where in one issue, the Wachiwatu revealed that Squirrel Girl, with just one squirrel, somehow beat the Mad Titan. To be clear, this wasn't a clone or a fake. It was the real Thanos, one blessed by death, and yet Squirrel Girl won. Somehow. Don't mess with Squirrel Girl is the lesson here.
Oh, well then that sounds awesome! Carry on.
Number 2. Thanos. Yeah, this one is complicated. So in the comics, there was an arc called Thanos Wins. In it, we see Thanos take over Chitauri Prime, which will ring a bell for movie watchers, and then be contacted by the entity known as the Cosmic Ghost Rider to bring Thanos to the future to meet Thanos. Oh, it only gets weirder from here. You see, after Thanos goes to the future, he meets King Thanos, a true future version of himself where he has basically taken over everything, has wiped out the Avengers, save for Hulk, who is now his pet, and asks his younger self for help to fight the Fallen One, who turns out to be Silver Surfer with the Annihilation Wave and Mjolnir. Told you it would get weirder. Anyway, after fighting off Silver Surfer, there was one last thing the two Thanoses had to do. In order to please death, King Thanos had to die by his younger counterpart's hands. And sure enough, the present-day Thanos won, but he didn't kill him. Rather, he said he would return to the past to make sure that this weaker Thanos didn't exist. So he beat himself and then promised to make sure the version of him didn't come to pass because he felt it was beneath him. Comics. Number 1. Darkseid. Confused? Don't be. We'll explain. When it comes to what if matches between DC Comics and Marvel, Darkseid vs. Thanos is a classic because they're two unbeatable foes with cosmic origins and OP power sets at times. But that begs the question, who would win a fight between the two? The Internet Show's Death Battle broke this down in an all-time classic episode that showed that not only does Darkseid win, Darkseid wins handily. Not just because the Infinity Gauntlet wouldn't work on Darkseid outside the Marvel Universe, but because Darkseid is technically a higher being that can only be killed in the Fourth World, where his consciousness resides.
This is who I am. Your reality is far from my own. You have no power here.
And Thanos has no answer for that. And that says nothing of the Omega Beams and Omega Sanction, which could wipe out Thanos with just one shot. It may not be a true comics victory, but it's the internet. It counts. Watch the episode for yourself to see the epic 3D fight between the two. It's worth it. Trust us. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Thanos and the various characters who have beaten him either physically or mentally over the years? Which of these defeats do you feel is the most humiliating for Thanos himself? Can you believe some of the people he's lost to over the years? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.